Welcome to FI News Review. I'm your host, Susan Choi. With summer fast approaching, those of you in the food business may be wondering what to expect from your customers this year, sales-wise. Well, I have good news for you. From CPG to QSR, FI's senior editor, Jordan Wiklund, has been watching it all and is here today to share some insights. Jordan, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Great to be back, Susan. Thank you.
Always a pleasure to have you. Let's start with earnings. There have been quite a few earnings releases around right now coming out. What's going on in the food sector?
It's earnings season. Many companies reported in this week, including some of the biggest and boldest, worldwide. But it was a tough quarter for many of the best-known food brands. McDonald's same-store sales fell short of expectations by over half a percentage point. CEO 𝗟𝗶𝗱𝗲 vowed to focus on affordability, value-based messaging, and a street fighting mentality to win, over customers. Meanwhile, Starbucks and Yum Brands also reported sales declines. Starbucks cut its forecast for the first time in 3 years, looking ahead to the next quarter, if that's any indication of where we are. For Yum Brands, KFC and Pizza Hut suffered same sales woes as well, though Taco Bell was a bright spot for Yum Brands with 1% sales growth, which I attribute to me because I eat it a lot. Meanwhile, food manufacturing juggernaut Kraft Heinz also revealed diminishing returns. Meanwhile, however, Chili's is doing really, really well. Its year-long endeavor to cut costs, offer consistent service, it upgraded its kitchens from a technological perspective, and its focus on team members yielded a 3.5% rise in same-store sales. And traffic year over year beat the industry average by 4%. So people are out there getting their baby back ribs, Our colleague, Kelly Beaton, recently took his family of 4 to Chili's and said, I got more food for less there than at McDonald's, which is a really telling sign of where many consumers' thoughts lie this spring with food away from home. Just a few months ago, it was widely reported that the $1 McDonald's value menu didn't have anything on it for less than $1. So winter may be over, but it's tough sledding out there for many consumers, Susan.
So a few brands doing pretty well, but overall, a lot of other brands doing not so well. Based on the lukewarmness of these financial results, does this mean that consumers are strapped for cash? Could we see a slowdown in summer spending?
I know this consumer is, but consumers spent a lot during the holidays. It was a really robust December. Retail and e-commerce sales were far more than expected, which bolstered many companies' earnings outlooks for the year. And caused many stakeholders and CEOs, owner-operators to celebrate the soft landing of the economy, but it may have been a little too early. This quarter may, in fact, be the tipping point, and we won't really know for sure until this quarter's results come in several months. Are people spending money? Are they paying off debt? Top-line CPI was up 3.5% in March this year. But we're not really seeing wages, increase at the same rate, and that's been the story for years, if not decades, depending, who you're talking to. Meanwhile, the Federal Reserve tipped its hand early before its recent meeting, saying they're not going to, decrease interest rates until the fall and possibly 2025, falling, far short of what it had hoped for at the turn of the year, which was maybe 2 or 3 rate reductions. I mean, that seems like a thing of the past.
Right. There does seem to be a lingering hesitancy in consumer spending overall, one might say. How are retailers responding to all of this?
Well, CEOs, retailers, people at the top level that are, responsible not only for their company's goods and services, but contributing to the overall conversation. I mean, they really sent up warning flares this week. I mean, inflation hasn't really subsided for the common consumer, and it is affecting, retail, grocery, and restaurant sales. It's also prompting the question, how much is a single dollar actually worth in 2024, highlighted by the McDonald's dollar menu dilemma. Consumer confidence dipped in April to its lowest point in over 2 years. And, CEOs from McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Colgate-Palmolive, even, Minneapolis hometown heroes 3M, many are emphasizing value over volume. And on that note, private label remains ascendant. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's getting, more and more exposure. And, Walmart made the big private label news this week. They announced a new line called Better Goods, which is going to emphasize chef-inspired foods and meal kits under $5. Now, that's bold talk, but Walmart can probably deliver on it. In the recent Snack 50 report from 𝗟𝗲𝘁'𝘀 they reported that the top 6 brands trending with consumers were all private label. Let that sink in for a minute. That's the first time that's ever happened. Walmart's Great Value led that charge on top of that list, and it was followed by Aldi and 𝗟𝗏𝘁. Value, serving size, packaging size, and the first impression sort of quick twitch reactions to cheaper products that offer novelty, nutrition, and most of all, more money in the wallets and purses of consumers is very much the story of the spring, if you will, and possibly this summer. We'll see what happens.
All right, FI's senior editor, Jordan Wiklund. Jordan, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Susan.
And as always, you can check out all the great content that we've done by clicking on this playlist. Till next time, I'm Susan Choi. Take care and have a great weekend.